Coming up on today's show, Volkswagen lets the press drive pre-production prototypes for the Volkswagen ID Niro, and the reviews are pretty good. Tesla launches a new handover procedure that could let you buy a Tesla in just 5 minutes, and Porsche tells us just how to pronounce the name of its first mass-produced electric car. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to another roundup in the latest news in the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles. The last one of this year. We'll be doing a few shows next week, but for the most part, I and the rest of the team will be getting a much-needed break before things get crazy at CES in January. But that's still next year, so let's get back on track with our first story. Finally, after years of claiming it would dominate the electric car world, Volkswagen has shown us more than concept cars. In fact, it's just let journalists drive heavily camouflaged pre-production engineering prototypes for its first long-range EV, the Volkswagen ID Niro, in South Africa. Despite not yet being ready for market, those who got behind the wheel have for the most part been very positive, praising the car's 150 kilowatt rear-wheel drivetrain, its nicer to drive and roomier than a Golf design, and its promised 330 kilometre starting range. Volkswagen says we'll see a production ID Niro by the end of 2019. As stated in a recent interview with 60 Minutes, Tesla CEO Elon Musk isn't discounting the possibility of buying some of the production facilities that General Motors recently announced it would be closing in Canada, the United States and Mexico. This week, Ohio Governor John Kasich reached out to Elon on Twitter asking him to, quote, call me about that very interview, adding that, quote, there are no better workers than Ohio workers and Lordstown is ready for you. Lordstown, of course, is the home to one of the soon-to-close GM factories. Musk's response? A non-committal, thanks, we'll consider next year. There have been plenty of studies in recent years around the public's impression of autonomous vehicle technology, with younger people tending to be more accepting of autonomous cars than their elders. But as Tier 1 parts supplier Continental shared this week, it's not just age, it's nationality. Conducting a survey in Germany, the United States, China and Japan, it discovered that while Germans and Americans are split on their attitudes to self-driving cars, 89% of Chinese respondents viewed autonomous cars in a positive light. This makes the nation far more accepting of self-driving cars than any other country. The tiny single-seat $15,500 Solo EV by Canadian firm Electromechanica may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's just announced the start of series production for the Solo EV at its partner manufacturing facility in Chongqing, China. The production Solo EVs look far more robust than the pre-production prototype I saw a couple of weeks ago in Portland, Oregon, and have integrated third headlights onto the bonnet in order to comply with US motorcycle regulations. The firm says it already has 23,000 orders for the Solo EV and more than 41,000 orders for its two-seat, four-wheel Tofino Roadster. Midweek, Elon Musk presided over the official opening ceremony of the Boring Company's first test tunnel, a 1.5 mile affair passing from the SpaceX lot to just outside a shop where bricks made from the material bored out by the firm's tunnel boring machines will be sold. The event, pretty small in size compared to Tesla events, offered people the chance to ride the length of the tunnel inside a Tesla Model X fitted with special prototype guide wheels to ensure it didn't hit the tunnel sides. Eventually, Musk said these wheels will be retractable and could be fitted to any autonomous electric car. Eventual tunnel speeds, 150 miles per hour. Shortly after the start of the new year, we and tens of thousands of other media outlets will be heading to CES 2019, where the greatest and latest in consumer gadgets, technology and transportation will be on display. And from the various emails and exchanges we've had so far, it seems that CES 2019 is going to be all about autonomy, with everyone from mainstream automakers to Tier 1 parts suppliers and even small startups demonstrating some new computer vision, autonomous safety or driver aid designed to get us driving less and relaxing more. We'll be there from January 6th all the way through to the 11th, so stay tuned for coverage from myself, Kate, Erin and Brandon. The California Air Resource Board voted unanimously last week to set in place new regulations that would require all transit buses in the state to be zero emission by 2029, with all bus fleets to be 100% emission-free by 2040. CARB says that currently 40% of California's CO2 gas emissions and 80 to 90% of smog-forming particulates come from its transportation sector. It also says mandating the use of electric and hydrogen fuel cell buses will cut greenhouse gas emissions by 19 million metric tons between 2020 and 2050. That's the same as taking 4 million cars off the road. 5 minutes. That's how long Tesla wants it to take you to walk into a Tesla store, complete the paperwork, and drive out in a new Tesla. It's all part of a new streamlined delivery process that Tesla is bringing online in order to get as many cars to customers as possible before the end of this year. Sadly, the 5-minute handover only works if you're paying cash, leasing from Tesla, or using Tesla's own financing, but this sounds like the fastest ever vehicle purchase in history. At the same time, Tesla is now using its Gigafactory 1 as a delivery centre for those in the area, which also include offering factory tours for those customers. Porsche's first long-range mass-produced electric car is a big deal for the company. Having been unveiled as the Mission E prototype, it's now being prepared for a market launch under a new name. You know, the one that begins with T and ends in N. How do you pronounce it, though? Well, for months now, I and many others in the industry have been calling it the Porsche Taycan. But apparently, according to Porsche, which released a new video this week teaching everyone how to say the name, it's Taycan. Where would we be without the internet, eh? Following on from the announcement earlier this month that it would be closing several of its production facilities and shuttering cars that weren't selling well or didn't fit into its future plans, including the Chevrolet Volt, GM has announced 50 new layoffs at the Brownstone battery facility. Brownstone has been home to the Volt battery assembly line, as well as those for the Buick LaCrosse e-Assist and the Cadillac CT6 plug-in hybrid battery packs, 2 more models that are also getting the chop. What isn't affected are jobs at the separate Michigan production facility where the Chevrolet Bolt EV's battery packs are made. And now it's time for shorts. The EU has just agreed on a 37.5% CO2 reduction target for cars across the Union. Member states have agreed on a higher reduction than first expected, but did not opt to add zero-emission vehicle mandates to force automakers to sell a specific percentage of plug-in cars. Enigmatic automotive startup Lightyear has announced a strategic partnership with Lease this week to make it easier for customers to get behind the wheel of its Lightyear 1 solar car. Sadly, though, it won't be cheap, with monthly lease prices expected to be well into 4 figures. After receiving approval from their respective boards and the EU competition authorities, BMW and Daimler have been given approval by US federal authorities to merge their Drive Now and Car2Go mobility services into one joint endeavour, which will be based in Berlin. The merger is expected to take place next month. Nearly a fifth of all British motorists say they want to dump the pump and go electric next year as part of their New Year's resolutions. That's according to British joint government and industry campaign Go Ultra Low, which said that 18% of people questioned in a recent survey said they wanted to plug in. The world's biggest shipping company, Maersk, has recently announced that it wants to develop a new container ship to sail around the world, one which will allow it to become carbon neutral by 2050. In the past 4 years, it's already invested $1 billion to try and make that a commercial reality. Chinese company Niro unveiled the ES6 SUV this week in Shanghai. Smaller than the ES8, it offers 2 160-kilowatt electric motors, 250 miles of minimum range, there are different battery pack options, autonomous capabilities, and an upgradable, swappable battery pack. For now, though, it's only going to be available in China. Mullen Technologies, the company which purchased remaining Koda electric cars after Koda went bankrupt, announced this week that it signed a deal with Chinese firm Qing2 to start production of its K50 all-electric sports car in the US. Mullen will start taking limited numbers of reservations next year. Daimler has officially delivered its first all-electric Freightliner EM2 truck, handing over the keys to Penske Truck Leasing Corporation in LA. It's got a range of 230 miles in ideal situations and is designed for local distribution. Lightning Motorcycle, the company behind the world's fastest electric motorbike, has announced a move to new production headquarters in order to expand production for its LS-218 superbike. The first production electric motorcycle to offer the kind of superbike performance that many want, it's going to be one to watch. In preparation for bringing its Taycan to market, Porsche has asked its sibling company MAN Trucks to produce all-electric trucks to help bring parts to and from its production facilities. Porsche says it wants to have a zero-impact factory for the Taycan, and these trucks are another step in that direction. CCS may be winning the connector war around the world, but China and Japan, which have been working on a joint new EV charging standard since August, now say they want other countries to join in. Maximum power for this new standard is set at 900 kilowatts, but it's unlikely the industry really wants another plug. Volvo Trucks has been quietly working on all-electric drivetrains for full-size semis for some time, and now it says we'll see 23 demo Class 8 electric trucks enter use in California next year. Then it says you'll be able to buy one from 2020 onwards. Antonio Felix da Costa took the checkered flag in last weekend's inaugural race of the 2018-2019 Formula E race season. It was a race filled with plenty of action and jostling and puts BMW I Andretti Motorsport at the top of the leaderboard. 3/4 of all Dutch Tesla owners have been caught speeding. That's according to official governmental data released this week, suggesting Tesla owners are more likely to speed than anyone else. Plug-in hybrid drivers are also apparently more prone to speeding than the general population. And that's it. There will be more next year. This year, we've seen many different companies promise a future of zero-emission flight, some autonomous and some not. But one company in Israel says it's super close to making all-electric commuter flights possible. It just needs a final round of funding. Enter Emission Aircraft Limited and its Alice prototype plane. It promises a 9-passenger capacity and a range of up to 650 miles from a single charge. It promises a running cost of $200 per flight hour versus the $1,000 for a turboprop. But, says Eviation, it needs another $200 million of investment to turn its proven prototype into a production aircraft. And finally, Tesla has historically always been known for being pretty good with warranty repairs and claims. So when a customer claimed back in December 2014 that his Tesla Model S had burst into flames while driving it home from the Tesla store, Tesla quickly took the car back, offered the customer a deal to take care of his loan and get him in a new car with a free extended warranty as quickly as possible. Except, as the folks at Electrek found out this week, shortly after the investigation into the fire began, Tesla found the cause of a fire. A thermal event triggered when a bullet had been fired into the battery pack from within the vehicle. A lawsuit followed, but the message is pretty clear. Bullets and batteries do not mix. And on that note, it's the end of this week's show and the end of another year of TEN. Next week, we've got some special shows planned for you to enjoy, and then the whole team is off to CES in Las Vegas with our new camera person, Brandon, too, because apparently all camera people are called Brandon. In the meantime, I hope you have a really very happy holiday, a peaceful new year, and I'll see you back here on January 20th for 10 episode 236. If you liked today's show, give us a thumbs up and share. If you didn't, give us a thumbs down and tell us why. And if you'd like to support us, well, why not follow one of the links in the description below. Don't forget too that there is a new Discord server that you can join for this channel. The link is also in the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to be better, kinder, and smarter to one another. Keep evolving.